In this demonstration, we present SocialRank, an ego and time-centric workflow for relationship identification within an email corpus. Enron was an American energy company based in Houston, Texas. It employed 22,000 people and was one of the world's leading electricity, natural gas, paper, and communications companies. In 2000, it claimed revenues of $111 billion, and in 2001, Enron was bankrupt. Enron became a subject of government investigation into its operations and possible connections to the California energy crisis. We now know that Tim Bilden was a key player behind schemes for manipulating energy markets for financial gain. Who was Tim Bilden, and what were his social relationships in Enron? As part of the investigation, the government released a large email corpus of about 250,000 email messages. Through a retrospective analysis of this data, we may be able to discover and gain insights into the social structure that connects Bilden to others in Enron. This is Tim Bilden's ego network, with links added between the alters. Each directed link indicates an exchange of at least 5 emails over the January 2000 to November 2001 timeframe. It is difficult to discern any social relationships in this representation. Using SocialRank, starting with Tim Bilden, we developed this manager-subordinate organizational structure in the course of 3 days. In the rest of this presentation, we will demonstrate SocialRank, which combines relationship and message ranking with visualization techniques to facilitate knowledge discovery, capture, and validation, to better understand the evolution of networks and to support the dissemination of an analyst's knowledge. We begin the relationship identification process by selecting an ego, Tim Bilden. We can select alters for more detailed analysis in 2 ways. First, we use a content-based supervisor ranker to identify from among Bilden's alters a list of his possible managers. The timeline viewer shows the complete communications relationships of the selected alters. Each bar represents the message count in a week. Above the baseline are messages from the alter to the ego, and below, messages from the ego to the alter. The triangles and the shaded intervals contain the highest scoring messages for the ranker. We go directly to a week distinguished by a triangle to read the message content and decide whether the alter is a manager to Bilden. The tone of this message suggests that Bilden is reporting to his manager. Interestingly, the message is sent to both John Lavorato and Louise Kitchen. We believe we have discovered a manager-subordinate relationship. We can now easily create an assertion based on this message, but at this time we cannot tell if Kitchen, Lavorato, or both supervises Bilden, so our annotation will reflect this. We continue to explore and select the next interesting week. Here we see a message that appears to be a status report from Bilden, in which he lists the progress of a number of possible subordinates to him. In addition, we notice that Amy Fitzpatrick is a recipient of the message. We remember that the message body includes a reference that Amy is an HR generalist. We want to follow up on this, so we create a new trail as a reminder to return to Amy in the future. We're also going to add this message to the body of evidence to support Bilden and his relationships with Kitchen and Lavorato. SocialRank remembers and captures our knowledge as we explore the email corpus. The network viewer shows what we know so far, the messages we used as evidence, and our comments about the discovery. We have just used a manager ranker to rapidly identify Bilden's supervisors. Now we can use a purely structural approach to find Bilden's peers. First, we change the ego to Louise Kitchen. SocialRank now displays a multidimensional scaling diagram to represent Kitchen's entire communications relationships. Every point in the MDS represents a temporal pattern of one communications relationship. Because we already established a social relationship between Kitchen and Build-In, we're going to take a guess that other subordinates may share a similar temporal rhythm and be near Build-In. Now the timeline viewer lists people who might report to Kitchen. This message between Ben Jacoby and Kitchen convinces us that Jacoby does report to Kitchen. Notice that even though we found Jacoby through a structural approach, the evidence was suggested by the content-based ranker. Because this message between Jacoby and Kitchen is extremely convincing, we're going to promote our confidence in their manager-subordinate relationship. We're also going to emphasize a passage in the message. This social network diagram does not represent relationship changes in time. We developed the Network Evolution Viewer to incorporate the temporal attribute so that we can see the evolution of an egocentric social network. Here, the temporal locations of the messages that were used to support a relationship are shown on an absolute timeline. We have just demonstrated the discovery, validation, and annotation processes in SocialRank. In addition, SocialRank also supports dissemination. The reporting process includes collection, ordering, and presentation. SocialRank generates HTML documents, including a summary page and detailed pages that contain the supporting evidence for the relationships.